Okay, hello viewers. Today, the book review which we are doing is of the book Emotional Intelligence, Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. Here, IQ we means intelligent quotient. This book basically is published in 1995 and the author is Daniel Goleman, who is a psychologist. If we talk about the main idea of this book, then the main idea is traditional IQ is not the sole predictor of success. Emotional intelligence plays a critical role in personal development, relationship building, leadership, employee, and customer handling. Basically, high IQ score does not guarantee happiness, career advancement, or strong relationships. Goldman basically divides EQ, that is emotional quotient, in this book into five core domains. Here you can see in the smart chart as well. Number one is self awareness, which means you have to recognize, you have to understand your emotions and your impulses. And the practical guide is for that you need to keep a journal with you where you can note down your triggers, your stimuli, and your responses. The second one is self regulation, which means you have to manage your emotions, you have to manage your impulses, and you have to be adaptable to change. The practical guide is you have to pause before reacting, or you can use breathing techniques to calm your emotional hijacks. Pause before reacting means you can take a couple of seconds before reacting to any matter. The third domain discussed by Daniel Goleman in his book is motivation, which means the inner drive of a person, of an individual, to be optimistic and to be persistent. And the practical guide is you have to cultivate optimism. How you can cultivate optimism? By rewiring your brain. How you can rewire your brain? By giving your brain the message that setbacks are temporary and they are not permanent. And you have to use affirmations as well, like this too shall pass. This is how you can remain motivated. The next one is empathy, where you have to understand other people's feelings and perspectives. And the practical guide is you have to listen actively, you have to basically ask probing questions, and you should not be in a hurry to interrupt or to show your intellect or to basically give your opinion. You have to listen actively. The last but not the least is social skills, where you need to manage conflicts, uh, and you need to uh, go for persuasion. You have to develop listening skills and you need to collaborate. The practical guide is you can build networks, you can resolve conflicts, and you can inspire others. Now the question is why emotional intelligence matters. So we will see this from two perspectives. The first is why EQ is important for personal life, because it can build self-control, resilience, and healthier relationships. Why it is important for workplace? Because it helps you for leadership, for teamwork, for negotiation, for conflict resolution, and for employee and customer handling. The key points of this book are emotion IQ alone does not determine success. Basically, this book explains amygdala hijack. What is amygdala hijack? Where strong emotions like stress, like anger, like anxiety, like fear, they override rational thinking or logic. Then it explains that you have to be mindful of your emotions, because this is how you can control your reactions and you can make better choices. Then genetics influence temperament, but emotional intelligence can be developed. Okay. Now, a very important question with respect to this book, though it is not covered in this book by the author, we are discussing it for the audience and for the sake of understanding. What are the implications of emotional quotient or emotional intelligence for businesses and leaders? For instance, if the leaders are having high EI, that is emotional intelligence, what benefits will be reaped by the businesses? And on the flip side, if the organizational leaders have low EI, then what will be the repercussions for the business? So, first of all, we will discuss high EI. If there is high EI in the leaders and the workforce, then there will be a culture of trust, loyalty, collaboration, motivated employees. People will be composed, secure, thoughtful. They will be reporting high engagement rate, and they will encourage creativity and openness to ideas. On the flip side, if the leaders and the employees have low EI, then there will be toxicity, there will be fear, there will be high conflicts. Maybe people will be having technical brilliance, but they will fail due to arrogance, due to poor listening, or inability to handle conflict. They will be impulsive, they will be ego driven, they will ignore constructive feedback. The organization will face high turnover, there will be disengagement, there will be burnout, there will be insensitivity. People will be defensive, they will give the cold shoulder, and the reputation of the business will be damaged. And ultimately, innovation and growth will not take place. If we discuss about some current day, some recent day leaders, and if they practice high EI, what will be the benefits to the business? And if they lack EI, then what will be the dire consequences faced by the organizations? So the first dimension is organization culture. Here we will discuss two examples: Satya Nadella versus Travis Kalanick. Satya Nadella, who is the Microsoft CEO, and when he became CEO in 2014, he shifted the culture of Microsoft from competition, from rigidity to collaboration to empathy and growth. And the result is within 5 years, the market value of Microsoft tripled and the employees reported high engagement rate. On the other side, if we see the CEO of Uber pre 2017, whose name is Travis Kalanick. He was very aggressive. He was of the opinion that win at all cost culture. You have to win at all cost. He lacked empathy, and there was toxicity in the environment. And the result is he was forced to resign, and he damaged Uber's reputation. The second dimension is decision making. If leaders are having high EI, then how they can make good decisions, how they can take informed decisions, and if they are lacking EI, then what will be the impact on the organization. Here we have again two examples: Alan Mulally versus Elon Musk. Alan Mulally, who is the CEO of Ford in 2006, when he take over the company, his company was in hot waters, but he encouraged transparency, openness, teamwork, and optimism. And the result is Ford avoided bankruptcy and government bailout packages as well. Without a government bailout package, Ford avoided bankruptcy. On the other hand, Elon Musk, who when took over Twitter, which is now X in 2022, he basically adopted mass layoff policy, which not only impacted the employees' morale but also the operational risk, and resultantly, Twitter, which is now X, lost billions in value and also the confidence of the advertisers. The third dimension is employee retention. Um, uh, for this, we will discuss two examples: Richard Branson versus Amazon Warehouse Leadership Program. Richard Branson, who is heading Virgin Group, he has a famous saying: take care of your employees and they will take care of your business. It means he focused on employees' happiness and satisfaction. So he tried to retain his employees. On the other hand, Amazon warehouse project, where the leaders basically they were emotionally disconnected with the employees. The working conditions were pathetic, the working conditions were harsh, and the result is the attrition rate or the turnover rate was very high, and the leadership was least bothered about the high turnover rate. Then we have customer relations. For this, we will study two examples: Apple Genius Bar versus United Airlines. Apple Genius Bar, where the employees or the staff are trained in a manner they have to deal with the frustrated employees with empathy, so they can convert negative emotions uh, of the customers into loyalty, into positive perception. So this was about Apple Store Genius Bar. On the flip side, we have United Airlines example, which is a negative example. In 2017, what happened was there was an overbooked flight, and one passenger was dragged off violently from the flight. Initially, the CEO was least bothered about this incident. He lacked empathy, and resultantly, there was a global outrage. Stock price of the company dropped, and company face reputation damage as well. Then we have the next dimension, which is about crisis handling. Here we will discuss again two examples. Jacinda Ardern, who is the prime minister, who was the prime minister of New Zealand back in 2019, versus BP CEO Tony Hayward. When the incident of Christian church attack took place in 2019, then president, then prime minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern, she responded with compassion, she responded with calmness, she responded with unity, and as a result, there was a national level trust and there was a global level trust. So this is how she handled this crisis because her EI was high there, her EI was strong. On the flip side, BP oil spill, which took place in 2010, the CEO of that time, Tony Hayward, at that time, environmental damage was taking place, people were suffering, but he gave remarks like, I would like my life back. So that was the massive PR disaster. BP lost billions and Hayward was forcefully removed. Then we have the last dimension, innovation and growth. If the leaders are having innovative mindset, then what will be the impact on the business? Here we will again discuss two examples, Google Project Aristotle versus Kodak. Google Aristotle project, they found that the best teams are those who are not having high EQ score, but rather who are psychologically secure, who basically exercise empathy and who follows open communication. On the contrary, Kodak, it went bankrupt in 2012, although we all know that the Kodak was the company who initially, who was a pioneer in basically creating digital camera, but they were least bothered about the consumer mindset. The consumer was shifting towards digital photography, but they had a emotional disconnect and arrogance with the customer's mindset, and they basically prevented innovation, and they basically far left, and they basically left this race, and they faced bankruptcy in 2012. There is also one important phenomena which everyone is discussing nowadays, that is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a buzzword nowadays. The question is, which is a very important question, can AI, artificial intelligence, replace emotional intelligence? This is a $64,000 question. So the answer is very simple. AI cannot replace EI, emotional intelligence, which is the soft power of leaders and the workforce, because these leaders and the workforce are practicing creativity, critical thinking, empathy, negotiations, and this human factor is very, very important to run any business, to run any enterprise. So, this is the book review of the book Emotional Intelligence, Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. Thank you.